What's up, everyone? This is Screen Smash, CouchSoup's video game podcast, where we talk about all things in and around the world of video games. You can catch us every Friday at noon Pacific Standard Time over at youtube.com/couchsoup.com, or a day earlier if you're a Soup Spud member at couchsoup.com. You, of course, can listen to us anywhere podcasts are available. So today, we are talking about Starfield and all things Starfield. To Starfield and beyond! That's right. We are hyped because we have all been playing.
One take. One take.
Oh, first take, best take. Come on.
That's it.
That's right. We are all buzzing high on Starfield. We have all been playing Starfield and are ready to give you our real gamer takes on what we think about Starfield. No review bombing, no console war hate, just real people with real opinions, just like assholes, because that's what we are.
Keep firing, assholes!
Keep firing, assholes!
Sorry.
To get us started, let us all take a little bit to talk about just a very short general thoughts of how you feel about Starfield. And if you can work in, have you beaten the story and how many hours to beat the game, or have you played? And I want to start with Baron.
Oh, I didn't check my hours. Let me see. Hold on real quick. No, I got it. It's really fast. It's right here.
It's right there. Just look at your load game.
2 days and 12 hours and 8 minutes.
Impressive.
I don't believe in that number. I'll say a day.
Disclaimer, asterisk.
Yeah. There's an asterisk next to that. At least maybe there isn't. I probably have played it that much. But long story short, I'm having the time of my life, and there's an indie title out there. Actually, 2 indie titles that prepared me for this, and it's Starbound and No Man's Sky. They definitely prepared me for Starfield. And the biggest thing that I'm like most shocked about is that Bethesda made a fun spaceship fighting game, like spaceship combat game. Like I would have never in a million years thought it would be as fun as it is. That is my short spiel.
Very good.
And and I haven't beat it. I haven't beat the game. I haven't started the first main mission yet. I haven't went and talked to Sarah yet. I'm level 14. No, 15. I'm level 15. I have a huge ship, and I'm almost class B, and I have yet to go and meet up with Sarah to go off and start Constellation.
Well, you're about to get spoiled as fuck because we're definitely doing some spoilers tonight.
La 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 la.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I kind of dropped the bomb a little too late this morning on Baron. Like, did you beat the story? And he was like, nah.
So real quick, before I tell my piece, were you playing early access as well, or were you playing when it launched on Game Pass?
Okay. No, yeah.
Oh.
I had early access. Thank you, Bethesda, for giving me a code. But I was at PAX, and then my computer was wheezing because you couldn't stream the early access. You had to play the install, and my laptop has a 985 in it, and I'm not an optimized guy. Like there's some people out there who are running on older graphics cards and doing great, but my little laptop 985 just could not cut it. It was like but yeah,
made that 30 FPS look real bad.
One frame a second.
So I know last time you were here, Bern, we were talking about expectations and whatnot, and how hyped we were for it. And one of my main concerns was I didn't know how I would feel about it leading up to launch, because the hype was almost like too real to where like I was like, I'm scared like it was going to tank, like it couldn't be too good to be true. But none of that matters anymore because I'm having a freaking blast. So every chance I've had for the past week, I didn't do early access. I did it when it came out on Game Pass. So every chance I had this week, I've been sneaking off to go play Starfield. And the cool thing about it was and I haven't felt this way in like a long time with Bethesda games. It kind of reminded me of playing Fallout 3 for the first time, I was like, man, like how the world just kind of like sucks you in. And you're just like, I can't stop exploring it. So it's like I didn't get that with Fallout 4. I didn't get that with any Skyrim games, Elder Scrolls, because I don't like Elder Scrolls games. And that was a big worry I had because like I liked Fallout and I didn't care for Elder Scrolls. So I was like, I don't know how I'll feel in Starfield, but like all my worries are gone. It's so much fun. And 1 second, I've been having so much freaking fun playing as this guy right here, being Buzz Lightyear, mother flipping space ranger.
Star Command.
You just need to make sure you send me the screenshot of your character sheet with the actual Lightyear name.
I 100%. And so I've been going around the galaxy exploring, protecting it. I got my right hand man, Sheriff Woody, by my side. He likes to be called Sam, but we're working on it.
He is Woody.
He's essentially.
There's a snake in my
Woody. I love Sam.
But honestly, like I solely like I went through the main story first because like I'm a little worried because next month you have so many great games coming out. I was like, I don't, if I get taken away from Starfield, I at least want to beat the main story. So I went through that and it took maybe 12 to 15 hours to beat it. And the crazy thing about it is even after beating it and spending like I'm 20 plus hours right now, I don't feel like I've even scratched the surface of the game yet. So like I don't know how you guys feel about that as well, if you feel the same or not.
Oh, you'll see.
Go
ahead, Brandy.
Yeah. We had early access, so I have over 60 plus hours in the game. And so confession time, I've never really played any of the Fallout games. I did not play a whole lot of Skyrim because I tried and I got murdered by dragons like immediately, so I was like, fuck this game. But this one was like, it's space, and I'm kind of a space nerd. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna give it a try. And I've been hooked. So hooked. Like I beat the main storyline. I was doing all these side quests, but I'm like, okay, no. I'm just gonna do the storyline, main storyline. I beat it. And now I'm doing it all over again because I can and I want to.
Yeah, I made Brandy
right there. I want to talk about it.
I made Brandy check her time too when she finally beat the story. I was like, okay, how many hours you got? And I think she was pushing, what was it, 64 hours?
Lord.
Because she had done a bunch of side quests before too. And then when she saw that I was trying to blast through the main story, she's like, I'm going to do that too.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, I'm like, UC Vanguard, let's go, But it's like Dan and I are playing right next to each other, and like our everything is totally different. So it's just like no matter how many times you play it, I feel like everything can be totally different.
I love the fact that like I don't even know who Sam is. But obviously
his name is Sheriff Woody.
Oh, Sheriff Woody. I don't know who Sheriff Woody is. I've only been to New Atlantis and Paradiso.
There's a snake in my boot.
And
I've been to Paradiso.
You haven't even been to Paradiso yet.
Yeah, same here.
I've been to Paradise.
And right. Hey, no, but I'm just saying, like, it's so crazy that I have 2 days in the game and I don't feel like I've been shorted at all. And I don't like at all. Like, I don't feel like I'm missing anything. Like, I'm truly enjoying myself.
So to give my take on it, I want to echo the fact that Jake mentioned Fallout 3 because that is 100% the vibes that I've been getting from this game. It feels like Fallout 3. And I said as much when you were here last time, Baron. I was like, I hope it's something like that because Fallout 3 was easily one of my favorite Bethesda games. I've dabbled in all the other ones, but none of them have grabbed me like Fallout 3. And Starfield absolutely grabbed me. It absolutely held my attention. I really enjoy the gunplay. I enjoy the combat, the space combat, the ship combat. Oh man, I find the ship combat very challenging, but also very engaging because of that. Especially when it comes to managing power for your ship and the different systems in the ship. So my overall general takes of the game at this point is I'm very much enjoying it, and I'm surprised I'm enjoying it as much as I am. And it's been such a unique experience, especially playing it side by side with Brandy. And we have those moments of like, what are you doing? What? I don't remember. I didn't see that, you know, and then like we're both getting things playing out in different ways where one random bespoke moment I can mention is I had a bounty once and I went and talked to the dude to pay off my bounty. And afterwards he was like, oh, you need to come with me right away. And it brought me to this military naval ship. And they were like, we need you to become a mole into this secret pirate organization. And I'm like, did you see this? And she was like, no, that's weird. And then afterwards she was like, oh, you know what? I was actually offered that quest line as a Vanguard, as a UC Vanguard. She got offered the job. I was forced to do it. They were like, you do this or you go and rot in a jail cell and have a massive bounty to pay off. And it's like, okay. So it played out the same quest line in different ways.
That's really cool.
I haven't.
Yeah, I mean, I had the bounty too, but when I went to pay it, they were just like, yeah, you suck for having a bounty, but yeah, whatever. Okay, thanks for paying. And he got like pulled when he saved the same bounty.
Okay, now I feel robbed. Now I feel jealous. Like I'm not playing the same game as you guys.
Well, that's just it. Is you have the option and the choice to play the game however you want.
Yes.
I decided to focus on the main story after I got well distracted into some of the side quests because like I started the Vanguard quest line. Then I learned about the Freestar stuff. That's with Sam, which you wouldn't meet if you didn't go on the first story missions. And Sam's pretty interesting. And the Freestar mission line felt like watching Firefly because you go to these rural planets where everyone's living in like rural, like they have like, you know, horse-drawn wagons.
Time to go to the story.
Cowboys and stuff. And I'm like, oh, it's like I'm living in Firefly. So now I'm following this quest.
I'm trying to fly the Serenity. It's time to go. Yeah.
I fully intend on building the Serenity one of these days once I get the parts for it. So I think you can do it with all the crazy ship customizations. Not going down that rabbit hole yet. So I finally decided to focus on mainline story. I started ignoring all the side quest stuff. And I finished the main storyline at about 54 hours. Again, this was with all the other stuff. I was about 54 hours. And I think it was level 32, 34, maybe in that frame, somewhere around there. If I can give you any one piece of advice, I think it's best to blast through the story first.
Really?
And then do everything else. Not to say it's wrong to do it the other way.
Okay.
But there's advantages to playing through the main story first.
Do it.
Okay.
Especially because of the way the game just throws side missions at you like crazy.
Yeah.
Which we'll get into that in the next section. We'll get there.
So I had a quick question for you guys. So talking about like the different like paths and stuff you can take, how everybody's game's kind of different. So when you booted up the game and you first started getting your level ups and stuff and you had your ability points, was there something that you sunk all your ability points into first? Because I know for me personally, I went the straight up persuasion one. Oh my God.
Oh yeah. I'm going to talk some people
so I don't know how, like I'm not spoiling the ending, but I don't know how like you, Dan and Randy, how you guys finished the game, but mine was just by talking.
Yeah. Same.
Awesome.
Auto persuade fuckers. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
I don't want to fight things.
I also don't know how much of that ending relies
Let's have
on
tea and cookies.
Let's all have tea and cookies and live happily ever after.
Friends.
Yeah, I did kind of the same thing. I spread a lot of my points out. Like I want to start going down each one of the skill trees kind of evenly, but I definitely went hard on persuasion. So like persuasion, piloting, and at least one of the combat skills. I was like, I need to level these as soon as I'm able to. Especially when you realize that
piloting
to
is a
get
big
the
one.
better ships, you need to rank up your piloting.
Like two, I think. Piloting two. Jetpack.
That's where I'm at.
Jetpack, I got up. That was like right after the.
I did the first rank of jetpack, and then I haven't ranked it up since.
I haven't ranked up jetpack. I'm level 2. I gotta working towards killing what do you got to destroy 30 ships in order to get rank 3.
Yeah.
And then I maxed out stealth, which is kind of OP, especially when you're like just landing on planets and exploring bases. And then persuasion, I'm at 2. I'm at rank 2 with persuasion. Because I haven't done the story, I haven't ran into too many moments where I have to persuade anybody. Because I haven't done any faction quests. I haven't done any faction quests.
Just like activities.
I've been doing activities and mission board stuff. Like that's it.
It's crazy to think that you've put 2 days into that game doing just that stuff. We
that.
put 2 days in the game playing like main story and a few side missions. Jake put 15 to 20 hours in mainline story.
Main story.
And you spent 2 days just doing side missions.
That's it. And that's why, this is a little off topic, but with Starbound and No Man's Sky, it's kind of how I spent the last 5 years playing No Man's Sky, which for a lot of those years was very much activities and flying around and landing and exploring and flying again. So I'm used to playing games like that. So it's almost like I came in with bad habits, but the core gameplay cycle is so good that I don't feel like if I did only this, I'd be okay. Obviously, I already got 2.
Yeah. It allows you to do that though.
Yes.
That's the thing. Like it's basically like however the hell you want to play this game, go for it.
Very much.
I agree.
Like that's the amazing part. Like Dan plays things like kind of fast and loose. Like I'm just gonna fuck with these people. Like I'm doing the
you gave
joke
me shit
answers
earlier for doing the
or
joke
whatever,
answer.
and they're just
being
like
an asshole.
Yeah. And then I'm the kind of person that I'm just like, okay, no, we have to really focus on the budget needs to be correct. Because this is how I would do it in real life. I'm not just going to be like,
so
throw everything at it, And he's just like, let's do it.
So for those out there, if you haven't done this yet, there's a quest line where you can help with the R&D of a spaceship. And you have to go through this whole process of giving different answers of, focus on a big budget or a small restricted budget, or we want to focus on luxury or streamlining or adventuring or camping. And I told everyone, do all of it.
Mm-hmm.
And my ship that I got was different than what Brandy got.
Wow.
And it was great.
I had this nice little sleek, spaceship that had a lot of stuff in it, but his was just it looked like all this crap dumped on top of it, but it was huge.
Mine was a tractor trailer with a
kitchen sink
camper smashed in top of it.
Okay. So speaking of ridiculous ships, have you guys ever seen any of the Varun living ships? Not living ships. They're called the Varun eulogies.
I've seen them, but I haven't been on.
No.
Okay. The big blocks, they look like, okay, I have one. That is my current ship. The thing looks like a city. When you land it, and it's ridiculous. I'm gonna send you guys some screenshots.
Yes, I want to put it up on the screen for this.
It is ridiculous. And it has without any additions, it has 6 crew slots. It has you have to go through 4 levels to get to the cockpit. You climb, walk through. It has a kitchen. It has a lounge area. It has it's like a base. It's like a floating full-on base meant to have. And the cargo space is over 2,000 cargo space. It's ridiculous.
My created ship had 4,000 cargo space and 6 crew.
Yeah,
I never flown it though. I never got to fly it because I don't have the piloting rank for it still.
Yeah, I had 4,000 something cargo hold, and I think I could have 3 on my ship. So it's still pretty nice, but yeah, I need one of the floating bases.
Since we're getting there anyways, I'm going to go ahead and segue us into our next point of topic here. And that is, what's in your cargo hold? So this section is where we're going to discuss some of the weird bits of Starfield, item hoarding, interesting or funny glitches, item hoarding being the big one, hence the thumbnail that we have that Jake made for us. All of us, for some reason, have decided to hoard very specific things. I myself have been hoarding plushies. When I first saw that there was plushies in the game, I'm like, gimme. Brandy, you've been
succulents and board games. So that's been my thing. Plants everywhere. I had like over 60 plants.
Okay. So with me, as you might expect, spoons. Spoon! Spoons, and spoons. So let me tell you something. After playing for 20 plus hours, okay?
Oh, Lord.
The lack of spoons in the universe is seriously concerning. Forks and knives everywhere. And I've only been able to find like 12 spoons. So with that said, whoever is watching or listening that is playing Starfield right now, I want to see your spoons.
Oh my.
Show me your
I've been
spoons.
collecting spoons in your honor.
So tag us, set us your in-game spoon pics. So that way I can sleep easy at night. And knowing that in the morning, little Timmy can eat his bowl of Cocoa Puffs the right way.
You know what? You know what's a sad truth that's really sad? It's super sad now that I think about it. It's because of the gravity situation. That's why there's no spoons. All the liquids in like a canister.
They don't have pudding.
Yeah, it's all in like
yeah, pudding would just
pouches.
float.
Well,
everything is pouches. That's why there's no
It's in
spoons.
chunks.
Holy crap, you're not gonna
What
find
you're
any
saying-
spoons.
What you're saying is the 12 spoons that I have then the
Are
value
the
of them
spoons.
should be through the freaking roof.
Yes.
They
These
are
are relics.
the 12.
Yeah. The sacred.
And right
That's
here, we
all the
have
spoons.
one of 12 spoons in the entire galaxy.
You
No.
need a collectible spoon set of Starfield now.
What if that was the item to boost your stats like bobbleheads and Fallout?
Ooh,
Like it was
man.
spoons, like the sacred spoons.
But like it's crazy though, because like it was funny because it started out as a joke when I first started playing. I was like, I'm just gonna collect all the spoons. Why not? And I'm looking, I was like, okay, there's a fork. All right, whatever. There's a knife. Where's the spoon?
On Earth. I haven't been to Earth yet. That's okay. That's not what we're talking about. Is it my
Spoiler
turn?
alert, didn't find
Do I-
any there
Don't.
either.
Yeah.
The Earth is a dust ball. There's nothing there. So,
Oh, boo!
It's so sad.
No, okay. So I've been collecting coffee mugs, like
Okay.
in real life.
I've
There's
been
some
collecting
awful ones
hats
I've
too.
seen.
Any
Me too.
hats I find, I get them.
Oh. So coffee
hats.
mugs and weapons. Not because you know why I'm collecting weapons. I'm gonna say it now. I think there's gonna be an update to come out soon, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong. Or maybe a mod somebody will bring in the future where you can dismantle weapons for parts.
Ooh.
Okay, that's something I think is missing, but that's what I'm collecting. A lot of weapons and a lot of coffee mugs. I found a gold one that says there may be coffee in here.
Mm.
Or,
I saw that
coffee maybe. I think it's something
I
like
ran
that.
into that one
Yeah.
today. It was like may contain coffee or something like
Yeah,
that.
there you go. But it was
Yeah.
like gold, and I was like,
Mhm.
nice.
There's
was like
definitely
the-
some really cool crap in the game like that, like the
Yes.
posters and like Easter eggs. Like Brandy
Yeah.
found a cool
Mhm.
Easter egg.
Yeah, the Blue Harvest. Yeah, poster.
Yeah, she found
See-
a poster called that was
Yeah.
Blue Harvest.
See, do you get to keep the posters?
No,
That would have been so
No. I do think like when you get like a place, they will have like
I
I
wouldn't.
think they might.
I wouldn't be
have
surprised if they do
posters that
some
you
sort
can
of
actually
a
put up.
edition that was like Skyrim, like the home one, where you can
the
like
hearth.
really go
Yeah.
hard on, because you can own property in the game. You can have like luxury apartments and things,
You
and you can
can?
furnish them. Yeah, Brandy
Right,
did
yeah.
it.
Uh-huh. I have a pin. I
You want
got
me
a
to tell you
pin house, dude.
what I did? So I found
What'd you
this
do?
like super cool church base, and this actually might be why Varun keeps trying to kill me. It was a really big facility out in the middle of the desert, to the point where it looked like a mech is supposed to come out of it, and then there's this huge like elevator that goes up like 3 floors, and then it's like a T overlooking all the desert. Well, there was like 60 people in there, killed them all. And I just decided to kind of live there. So I built a landing pad like right at the edge of the region. So now I call it the honeypot hideout, and I just go and drop off my illegal contraband because I don't know how to sell it yet. Because obviously I haven't played the game. Look, obviously I haven't played. I got a strong feeling, my spider senses are tingling. I feel like there's a lot of the game I'm not experiencing because I haven't played the story at all.
So that you made me remember something. I found this, or I did this quest line. You can become Space Batman.
I did that.
You did the Space Batman? All right. Did you do Space Batman, Jake?
I don't think so. I think I would have remembered.
You would know it if you would know it.
I think I would have remembered if I did.
Yeah. The Mantis.
Are you talking
you are
Mantis?
Yeah. You are Space Batman.
Oh yeah, you are 100% Space Batman.
And then they know you. Like when you're in the ship, you're like, oh, it's the Mantis. It's so cool.
I've only flown that ship once, and it's only because my big ass ship that I had could not land in a certain spot, and I couldn't swim to get to the island because I died if I tried to swim. Like, seriously? So then I had to go back, get my smaller ship so I could land on the island.
Interesting.
So think about that.
I don't know what it is about the game that just it encourages you and makes you want to just hoard random stuff. And that's just like the thing, like we've seen the posts online about the guy who collected 20,000 potatoes and put them in his cockpit. Or the person that's collecting all the sandwiches in the universe. Jake's collecting all the spoons in the universe, all 12 of them.
All 12. All 12.
Yeah, I feel like that's going to be harder to do.
I've got like so many plans.
I'm sure it is. Have any of you had any like really interesting or funny glitches in the game? Because I mean, it's a Bethesda game. There's going to be glitches. It's huge. It's impossible for there not to be glitches.
I mean, I launched that guy up into the.
Yeah, you did.
Tell us about it, Brandy.
I don't know. Like, okay, so I shot him.
Nice.
In the jetpack, and he exploded and like just landed in the ceiling, and his feet were just dangling down, and it was just like dangled. So it was
the real
ridiculous.
question is, were you able to loot
so ridiculous?
Then
I was.
it just works.
I had to get a
just
key from
reach
him.
up there and move your leg, your pocket.
Yeah,
I think I was able to loot a
I need
guy's
this.
foot once. Like somebody was glitched into the ceiling, and I could see his like marker on the radar, and I could hear him yelling at me. I'm like, where is this guy? Where is he? And I look up and I just saw like the tip of his boot. And I was like, so I shot it and there was the damage marker. And I was like, so I shot it again. And then it was like, brr, but the boot stayed there. And then I was able to loot it.
Brr.
So are you guys all playing it on PC?
No,
All Xbox.
Xbox.
No.
I'm going to be honest. Only glitch I've ran into that for me was I killed a guy coming down the stairs, and I don't even know if it was really a glitch, maybe just good physics. His head ended up getting stuck in in between the space of the ladders. So he's been hanging there for a long time. I think that's the glitch part. Like anytime I'm going up to the 4th level of this giant ship,
He's still
there's
there.
this body that I have to crawl past. It's a reminder of my dark past.
Yeah. I noticed that in one of the ships I captured, because I boarded a ship and I killed all the dudes on the ship, and then I captured it, and then I was flying that ship around for a while, and every single time all the bodies are still in the cockpit. Every time I'm like, is somebody clean up in here? All right, guess not.
Oh, yeah, there was the one with the attack on the city, like New Atlantis.
Spoilers.
And like there's the security guys. Yeah. Well, there's security guys that die. Well, then like every time I'm running by now, there's still a dead dude like laying in the middle of New Atlantis. I'm like, can somebody clean that up?
Somebody help me.
Like
he's starting
seriously,
to
people are
smell.
just like walking by him.
What if they just dip them in bronze and leave them
like
there?
going about their business, like what the hell? And then like there was another one, it was like one of those meal trays. Like I went by it and knocked it down, and then it was just like flap, 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 flap. That's all I heard. And it scared the shit out of me because I'm like walking and it's like real dark, and I'm just hearing this flap, 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 flap sound. And I turn around, shine my flashlight, and it's just this stupid meal tray just flapping.
It's alive! It's alive!
It was.
Dr.
I do
Frankenstein's
think I got a
meal
clip of
tray.
that too.
Hey,
Yeah,
no,
Yeah.
no, but Oh my gosh. I will say that this has been my most polished Bethesda experience.
Oh, for sure.
To the point to where I'm slipping on how much I quick save. And I haven't had, like, I know I had gone through this whole base and I'm doing all this crazy mission and I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like 30 minutes into this quest into this mission and I haven't quick saved. What is wrong? Do I have faith in Bethesda?
Make sure you have faith, man.
No,
let me put a pin on your faith right now. Because I was on I've played this game almost to completion without any hard glitches. Like the game maybe crashed on me once, maybe, and like the autosaves are pretty good, so I didn't really lose anything. I was on the final mission of the story, and there's a really long, elaborate sequence of events that plays out, and then I got to the door to like the final thing, and I clicked on the door, and then boop. I'm at the Xbox home screen. Yeah. And I went, excuse me? My game just hard crashed. So I rebooted the game back up. I went to my save and it was 10 or 15 minutes prior at the very start of that incursion. And I was like, fuck. And I was like, okay, quick save. I need to start quick saving more often. So yeah, it's always good. Just
I'm gonna
if
go
it's
back.
the area where what I think it is, like that drives me nuts just thinking about that. Like oh my God.
Okay, I got it. Is the story amazing?
Yeah.
It's very good. Yeah, absolutely.
It's a snowball, in my opinion.
It's also a bit of a mind fuck.
Only keeps getting better.
Yeah.
Because the first night I played it for like 2 hours. And I was like, okay, it's cool. Dip my toe in the water, whatnot. Next day I came back. Like the more I came back to it, the more I'm finding my play sessions longer because I'm like, oh my God, this is getting interesting. To where I think it took me 4 days to beat it. I think I played it Tuesday, beat it Friday. I think by the third day, I was like, all right, I'm gonna get off now. And then something really cool happened. I go, oh no, man, no, I can't get off. And I ended up playing like 3-4 more hours. Where it was like 4 or 5 in the morning. I was like, dang.
I need to play the story.
It's pretty good. I can only imagine how good it's like. I want to do it too, to play through the story just straight like Jake did, because I could feel like it's only better that way. Because if you spread it out, you lose touch with the events of what's happening.
Mm-hmm. Got it. I'm gonna play the story.
Do it. But I do. I 100% agree with you to where it's like the most polished Bethesda game, because I like bugs and glitches in those games because they're really, really funny. I love seeing like the little rag dolls and just like, somebody's head stuck in a ladder. And just,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
People running around in T-pose.
It's sad because usually like I would record every bit of it. Like in the Fallout games, I would always record those things. And but sadly enough, it's like I was looking through it and it's like I just have like screenshots of like funny faces and stuff like that. I was like, I don't have any recordings of like glitches and stuff. So like it's good for them. I mean, by entertainment, no, not so much, but but I think like the funniest thing that I guess that would happen to me is like my companion, how like they can jump in and say something every now and then. I think I was doing the mission for like the space pirates or whatever. And I was like on the floor, like the top floor, and my companion hasn't reached me yet. So he's still trying to make his way through the ship. And I start having the conversation with one of the leaders of the ship. And then I say something and it's like, Barrett liked that or whatever. And it's funny because the camera like pans down to a different floor. Like I have no idea where he is, but he's not clearly next to me. He's just like looking up and like, yeah, no, man, that's pretty cool too.
I have one on a similar note. So I have one good glitch story and I have one good interesting story, but I forgot about this until just now when you were talking about that, Jake, because I've noticed that where sometimes the companions will be in weird spots when you initiate conversations and they just kind of stop where they are and then they're talking to you from weird angles. Mm-hmm. There was one time I went to my storage at the lodge base where you can keep all your stuff when you got too much crap. And I have a really bad habit of I try to back out of things and then I crouch inadvertently because I'm just backing out and then I crouch. And I did that. And whenever you crouch, your companions will do it too. And I crouched and turned, and then I talked to Sarah, who was right in front of me. And it did the weirdest perspective of Sarah looking up at me very intimately from a very interesting angle. And I was like, and she was like, yes, what do you need? And Brandy looks over like, what the hell are you doing to Sarah?
Nothing. I'm playing Starfield.
Romancing. This is part of the game.
It really looked bad.
How did we get here? Constellation.
Just let it happen. Just let it happen.
Okay, so speaking of weird, like, even though I don't, once again, because the dialogue options have been minimal, because I haven't been doing anything to require much dialogue. But I will say that Vasco has absolutely terrified me. No, he is terrifying because I will get away from him, and they spawn from random places to catch up. So I'm like going through a base and I'm sneaking, and all of a sudden you see this big ass T-10,000 running at you. You're carrying too much stuff. Your back's gonna be broken. And I'm like, but it's just it's terrifying because you just like you're creeping, everything's going good, and then Vasco hits the corner. It reminds me of Mr. X. It reminds me of Mr. X. That's exactly what it is. Like, seriously. I'm like, am I running through the police station? Like, that is how he you're all sneaking and then he's all engaged in fighting. Like, it just
terminate.
Yeah. Vasco scares me a bit, but he's cool and he's the only companion I have right now. So, obviously I'm missing a lot here, guys. But this is so crazy. That's what I'm saying. Like,
because you're doing stuff that we're not doing. That's part of it.
Yeah, I definitely am. I'm a heretic with the Varun Church. They are not cool with me, at all. It's like on site. I don't even know if there's a meter. Like, hey, this group doesn't like you, because that's how it feels.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to share like what my good glitch and funny story, but I also want to give Brandy a chance to share some of her biggest grievances with the game, because I know she's got some good ones.
The companions, every time you just start picking stuff up, they're like, do you have to pick up all that crap?
Stop shaming me.
Like, yeah. And I'm like, excuse me, like, step off. And then, like, if you shoot something, they're like, Sarah's the worst. Like, she chastises you. And I feel like I'm like being scolded by my mother. Like, seriously. I'm like, dude. But like, then you've got Sam, who's like, you could do to shed a few pounds. I'm not talking about, diet or anything. I'm like, dang.
I actually love that dialogue. I think it's hilarious whenever they do that.
I know. It
You're
is
so
funny.
totally
It is
right,
funny.
though. Oh my
They
God.
sit there and they're like, do you really need to pick all that stuff up? As I'm just like,
you take like from the guy you
I'm
just
just
killed.
picking up more shit.
Take the ammo from the guy you just killed, and he's like, "Oh, well, I guess
And
they
like,
won't need that anymore." Why you gotta say it like that?
Yeah, and Dan's over here listening to me like, "Shut up, Sarah! Shut up, Sarah!"
but then it's worth having her, because then when you get into combat with her,
do
she's
what I
like,
want.
"You will feel my wrath." And you're like, "Whoa, Sarah!"
Yeah, she goes nuts. She goes hard.
Cool.
She is so funny.
I totally haven't went and picked up Sarah yet. She's waiting at the lodge.
They're all fun in their own ways.
Is amazing.
Yeah, I think he's my favorite.
Barrett is so
I
good.
think he's my favorite.
Have you guys hired different crew, like just from like the bars and whatnot?
I did one or two of them.
A few.
From what was it like?
No.
It was like Vision something, whatever. It's in the They're like sitting at the bar on the couch, just like, "Hey, I'm actually really good at doing this thing."
Well,
I'm like,
no, what's funny is some of them have some stories. Like one of them I picked up, he was like crazy in debt, and I ended up talking him down to like 3,000 credits instead of like the 8,000 he wanted. And he's like a system specialist, and I just I got him for the cheap because he was super in debt. I totally took advantage of him. But persuasion, I am I'm a space cowboy. That's what it's all about.
Brady, what was the other big one I know you wanted to talk about? The grievance.
Oh God, the quests. Okay. So I'm just minding my own business. I'm running through, a town, any town, the main towns. And people just start talking. And I'm like, I start hauling ass. Because I'm like, please don't, please don't, please don't, please don't. Mission. And I'm like, God damn it. Like, I will try and like go into an elevator and click fast just to like, okay, maybe I won't get it. But it's like I'm doing stuff. But now I got to go back there at some point because I've got to do
those darn auto-assigned missions that people are just like, hey, did you hear about that guy that has jobs? And you're like, no,
go away, go away.
And then it just pops up on your top of your screen like activity added. Like, no,
more things.
So random thought real quick. So when you guys made your character, I don't know if you did any of the traits. I don't know if any of y'all think was it like hero worshipped or whatever, to where you have like the fan like
I was going to ask to see if any of you did that.
Oh God, no.
First time I complete a mission and I think I'm in like New Atlantis or whatever. And I turn around and like I know what's supposed to happen at some point. I just didn't know when. And I just see this kid just running. I turned around and I book it. I was like, hell no. And I just go running as far as I can. And I was like, I wonder how far he'll chase me. Man, dude, I spent like a good 5 minutes just running around the city and like he's just booking his word. Oh my stars. It's Buzz Lightyear, Space Ranger. I am your biggest fan. And I was like, why do you look like Buddy from The Incredibles, kid?
That's gotta be on purpose. It's gotta be.
I don't know if anybody's made that comparison. That is true.
Who he reminds me of. It clicked for me though. Like, yeah.
I'm like, this is his villain origin story. Like, if I don't be nice to this kid, he's gonna be Syndrome one day.
Oh my!
He's gonna come back in the DLC as Syndrome.
Oh, dude, I'd love it. Oh man!
God,
you thought you got rid of me, huh? No,
you thought you got rid of me. I'm your biggest fan.
So how often?
I'm Syndrome. I'm a superhero.
So is he a part of your party?
Yeah, no, he's part of your crew. I didn't mind him. I mean, I didn't really mind him. He's just, I don't know. Every time we land, excellent, sir. Oh, I'm your biggest fan. Perfect landing. It's like we're best friends. Like, dude,
he doesn't just say that. Like, you're my best friend in the whole world.
No, he's like, we're best friends, and I still get nervous around you. I'm like, calm down, dude.
Bro, like. So, did anybody else do the parents? I did the parents.
No,
I haven't went and seen them yet, but they take money.
I just did Scoundrel.
That's your class.
So
Brandy
I
actually
didn't
skipped over traits, not realizing she could do that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Whoops.
see, I did the Scoundrel too. That's the pistol, the pilot, and persuasion, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that's the one I did too. Because I was like, I want to be Spike Spiegel. Like, my name is Spike. And then Vasco was like, oh, hey, Captain Spike. And I was
oh, yeah, the captain thing. I do love that where Vasco says your actual name because I put in Stark. And he's like, Captain Stark.
He doesn't say my name.
He doesn't say Captain Lightyear.
Oh,
you guys are
he
missing
doesn't
out
say
then.
my name either. He just
says
says
there's
Spike,
a list
Captain.
of names that he says, and
he calls me Spike. He's like, Spike, Captain Spike. And I'm like, yeah.
I'm Captain Stark in mine. Oh, I also made my guy inadvertently look like Cal Kestis. Like, my guy looks like Cal Kestis. I realized one day while I was doing like pictures, which holy crap is going to make me jump into a complete tangent. I was taking pictures of my character like in different things because I realized that when you take pictures in the game, it puts them in the loading screens.
Yes.
I fucking love it. It's the best thing ever. Why has nothing done this before? I love it. It's the first time I've cared about photo mode because I'm taking bomb ass pictures just to see them in the load screens.
That's cool.
So awesome.
I love it.
I feel like mine would be terrible. It's like, here's a wall because I accidentally hit the button I didn't mean to.
Just take pictures of spoons.
This is Buddy over here. This is
Buddy.
Woody. Say hi.
Hi, Woody.
This is the phone.
I took some really cool ones. Like I have one of like the Mars
Mhm.
The rover,
Discovery
right?
or whatever it is, like the Mars rover type thing. Yeah. Like I took some really cool
Nice.
pictures on Mars.
So,
Nice.
I did want to
Yeah.
hit on it real quick too with the like one of the weirdest glitches I've seen in the game at this point
Ooh.
was I was on New Atlantis and I went into one of the shops like UC Distribution to try to sell some junk. And as I left there, Sarah started talking to me, but she was walking away. And then it went into the locked conversation camera where like I'm supposed to be talking to her face to face, but she was still walking away. So here I am locked in, and the camera is fixed on her as she's just cruising down the sidewalk.
Is she staring at you? Like,
No,
is she
she's
doing the whole?
She's just walking.
Oh,
And I'm still having the conversation with her. I still hear her dialogue. She's still talking to me. It popped up with dialogue choices. And I'm like, wait. And then apparently Walter was in the conversation. And the whole time I'm just like, the camera has got that depth of field too. So after like 10, 15 feet, you can't see, but I can still make her out in the background, just walking off down the trail. And Walter was apparently talking, but I couldn't hear his dialogue. And then it got to a point where I couldn't hear anything. I couldn't choose an option. And I'm just stuck there watching Sarah, small, drifting, shrinking into the distance. And I'm like, okay.
Baby, come back.
So thankfully, I was able to reload my save from right as I went into that building. And it tried to do it again. I'm like, no.
Oh my God.
oh man. I've seen some cool images. Oh, okay. This is actually a pretty cool glitch, and it has to do with the honeypot hideout, the Varun building I confiscated. I think the game was trying to repopulate it, but maybe because my base was too close, it caused the issue. I see about 15 Varun zealots fall out of the sky, and they're spawn, and it looks like somebody's like got God mode, and they're like playing with, like, oh, what can I populate? That's what it looked like. So you just look over and you just see a bunch of dudes in black spacesuits dropped on a dune. And I was like, well, time to get some XP. And, went into sniper mode, turned into sniper elite. And it was glorious. Yeah. That's probably the closest thing to like a crazy glitch. But I seen a video where a guy didn't even get to fight in the beginning of the game. Where you fight against the pirates.
Yeah.
He didn't even get to fight him because he threw like a canister under the landing pad, and I don't know what it did to the game, but they didn't jump out of the ship. They took off, and then the ship disappeared, and then they spawned in the air and like died on impact. He didn't even get to fight him. Like, yeah.
Okay. Sounds like an easy tip to get through that first fight.
The more you know.
I have one other thing that I thought was pretty hysterical that I wanted to share too, because at one point in the game, to the No Man's Sky reference, I got really obsessed with like the scanning and like filling in my registry of all the plants, the flora, the fauna, and like I got really into doing that. Which actually reminds me, I had another really awful glitch I could talk about. But I was jumping systems through, you jump from one system to the next to get to the further distant ones. And at one point when I landed in one system, I got a hail as I was loading up another jump. And I was like, well, I already initiated my jump, but I want to see what this guy has to say. So I accepted the hail. My grav drive starts counting down. And the guy was like, oh, thanks for accepting my hail. We were just reaching out to you today to talk to you about the extended warranty on your spacecraft. And then poof, I jumped. And I'm like, thank God. It's little shit like that in this game that is like, there's just such weird little nuances and like attention to detail that are hilarious.
Make sure to have the
They're
record
everywhere.
button ready to go.
Now, the flip side of that, I also jumped into a system where there was a space battle happening. And in the chaos, I accidentally shot a UC ship. And they were immediately like, how dare you fire on us? And I had a bounty, like instantly. And then they got killed by the pirates. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't want this bounty. I'll have to take care of that. And it was like 650 credits, which in Starfield dollars is nothing. It's like $60. And then I jumped into another system and immediately got assaulted by a level 40 spaceship. I had no chance. I just instantly poof, like, all right. And then it reloaded at that exact same spot. And I immediately poof, again. And I was like, okay, so I'm like in a death loop. And I was trying to do everything I could to get away from this. I somehow I managed to jump into another system and again just immediately annihilated. And I'm like, what is happening? And I Googled, I'm like, how do I deal with bounties? And it says, oh, when you have a bounty, go to the closest main city where you have the bounty, go to a kiosk and pay off your bounty. I'm like, I'm getting murdered on sight. How would I do this? I even went to the trouble of jumping to New Atlantis, fast traveling to a landing in front of the lodge, because I was able to do that somehow. I managed to fast travel in front of the lodge and bypass everything else. And as soon as I was on the ground, all of the UN security started attacking me and murdered me on sight. And I'm like, it's 650 credits.
Get that man.
I ended up reloading my save game from 2 hours prior to that before I got the bounty.
Do you think that's something they'll have to patch out? Because you're not the only person I've heard get into situations where it's like I picked up something and it dang near broke the game in terms of being able to get out of that situation.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. I could have jumped to a different system where I didn't have the bounty, but I'm really glad I didn't because I could have spent hundreds of days and hours in the game outside of the other system and then come back just to get murdered by this glitch, and I would have lost more. So I was like,
oh man, that I got caught in a loop like that. That's how I got my big ship, my Varun's eulogy. Is I just didn't know how to get out of the situation, so I just kept re-rolling. But then I got lucky and started winning and figured out how to beat him. But then I was like, well, I want the ship. So I actually re-ran it again. And then it took me forever to learn how to dock. I'll put that out there too. It took forever.
There is a story mission that teaches you how to do that stuff.
The one question I had for you guys was the one question I had for you guys was there any grievances or things you didn't like about the game? Because I felt one of mine was I felt like it didn't the game doesn't hold your hand, but I feel like it doesn't do the best job of explaining certain things. But I think my biggest issue, I kind of have two. One's kind of spoilery, but the other one is I feel like when traveling to planets, because after I beat the game, I was looking through some achievements. I was like, oh, okay, I need to find this person, whatever, to do the faction. I was like, okay, now where was that? And I had to Google it. I was like, okay, where's this person? I was like, oh, this planet. Where's the planet? And I'm just looking, and I was like, oh my god,
through 1,000 planets, you're just
1,000 planets. And so I feel like that was such an issue for me. And I was like, I had to Google, okay, what planet? Okay, all right, where's it at? What galaxy is it in? It's I hated that I had to Google every time I needed to find someone. I wish there was a drop-down menu to where you can filter places and planets you've been with points of interest. I feel like that would be a good update that they can do.
Mm-hmm.
That way it's oh, okay, it'll have oh, okay, what's his face? Barrett is on this planet or whatever.
Yeah.
Dude, it drove me nuts trying to figure that out. And then the one other grievance I kind of had was, it's a little spoilery, but
go for it.
At a certain point in the game, you get abilities.
Okay.
Everybody who's beat it, they know. I felt like after I got them, I never used them. I completely forgot about them.
I used mine plenty.
To me, they didn't feel important.
I used mine.
I used it the first time and I completely forgot about it. After I beat the game, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot I could do this.
So you definitely need to go and look for more of those powers, because I'll tell you right now, there's one of those powers that's a little Kamehameha blast where you can blast dudes with an explosion. Mm-hmm. It's great.
Because I went and I did a few of the things where you would find the
parents just I knew nothing about this. Oh my god.
I'm ready. I'm so ready. No, go for it. No, go for it. Go for it.
But okay, Jake, seriously. There's there's the gravity thing, and that might be
think
one of
it's
the first ones you get,
scripted
Just
that
kinda
you
like
get that
where it
one
makes
first.
everything freaking float. Okay, yeah, that basically pauses everything. So in some of the side quests, especially the ones where you're fighting terramorphs.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Spoilers if anybody hasn't done that. There's some really big ass ones, and like I would just basically pause them, blast the shit out of them, and then they'd fall, and then they were usually stunned for a little bit. Do it again if you can.
Yeah, I gotta
and
play
then
that
It's
just
also really funny to
keep
watch a
going
big ass
until it gets
terramorph
them
kind of like ragdoll and float into the like.
Oh
just
yeah,
like,
I gotta play the story.
I just felt after you picked up the first one,
Yeah.
it was very out of sight, out of mind, and like I completely forgot about it. I remember that one other point later because I accidentally hit the combo like the buttons because it's like the top two triggers. I was like, "What I just did? Oh yeah, I forgot I can do this."
You also can get like a reflective shield, which is really sweet too, especially in hard gunfights. It's really good
It's
to
really
have.
nice.
But if we're talking about like grievances, then my big one is definitely the inventory system. I wish there was better options for sorting, especially when I'm trying to decide which weapons to keep, which to store, which to sell. And a lot of times I'll have multiples of the same gun, but of different values, but you can't look at them in groups together. So it'll be like, okay, I have 6 Aeons. They all have different abilities, damage, and perks, but I can't group the Aeons together so I can look at them at the same time. So then it's just a crapshoot of looking at everything I have all over the place.
Yeah.
No, that I'm with you there. Like, and it's funny because the fix is stuff that they've done in the past, as Bethesda's done in the past. That's why it's kind of confusing because all of the like a lot of our gripes they've addressed in previous titles.
I can see that being one of those things where they're like, we'll fix it down the road because we need to get the game out kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. Because like I also feel like I wish a lot of the consumables you could actually consume on the spot rather than pick it up, go into your inventory, find it, eat it, and so on and so forth.
Just hold that A button, right?
Yeah, just let me eat it. Just let me grab that chunk and eat it.
I felt like I missed the tutorial on how to heal certain wounds. Oh my god. So I was very fortunate enough not to get any serious wounds up until the last like that last long stretch toward the end of the game where it gets really hectic. Oh my god. And right before I went to start that, my character got cramping.
I had that too. I was gonna say cramping.
It was cramping, and it's like a poison.
It was a poison from the monsters on that mission.
Oh, okay,
I learned after the fact. Like,
I hate those bastards.
So I was going through that
little scorpion
and
bastards.
I was like, okay, I got to be done. I was like, something's killing me. So like, I finally found out what it was, and I was like, okay, let me go through my inventory. I don't have anything for it, and I was like, I can't fast travel anywhere. I'm like, I'm too far into this mission to like go back. So I was like, oh my god. I was like, I had enough of med kits. Like I started with like 26. By the time I beat that section, I was down to like 4. And it wasn't from the enemies. It was from my health just going down from the cramps.
Constant
like,
depleting.
These cramps are killing me.
Literally.
Now you know how it feels to have
So it feels like to be a woman.
I was just like dreading it. Just like, I need to beat this so I can go and heal this thing. And here's the thing, because they heal by themselves over time. Well, as soon as I beat the mission, it goes, "You were cured of your cramps." I go, seriously?
have you guys dealt with lung damage?
Yes.
Yeah.
Once. So I went to go pick up like a plant or something. And like, I got it.
Because of course all I've been doing is harvesting because I haven't done the story. But the lung damage, it takes away your stamina, your ability to heal. Like that yellow block pops up, and it just But no, frustrations. They need to. I need a disassembly button for my weapons. Give me the ability to just
break them down to resources.
Break it down to resources. Like, that's all I want. The amount of weapons that are dropped, you would think that would, because let's be honest, if you were to go and collect resources like normal, based on my no story premise version of the game, because clearly my world is different than y'all's. To go out and outside of just buying the resources to go and harvest them for crafting takes a lot. Like, and then you literally got to jump to like 4 different planets just to get to what's needed to craft a special part for a pistol.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to make it that difficult, why not give another option of like, hey, give up what you got, break it down, and you can get some of those resources. That's my thought.
In that sense, it almost feels like this is a growing pain for Bethesda, because in that essence of how you can get a shitload of weapons in this game, it makes Starfield a bit of a looter shooter, because it has a similarity with like Borderlands, where you just constantly pick up weapons all the time.
Serious.
Let me break down the junk ones I don't need. And like my first instinct is I'm going to grab as many as I can and then I'll sell them. But you don't really get a lot of money for most weapons when you sell them.
Nope.
So it'd make more sense, especially with the upgrades, because there's crafting tables where you can build mods for guns. But then I never have enough materials to build the mods.
And then it takes forever and a day to go and get them like through. Of course, you can go to an asteroid field. And for those who didn't know, you can shoot asteroids and it drops loot. But then it's not like you will need, like, what's the one that starts with a V, like Vanadium, and like 3 tungsten and 1 iron. But to get those 3 different things, they are literally across the galaxy on different planets. Like, it's not like
outposts come in.
Yeah.
But that's a whole nother can of worms, because then you need the resources to build the outpost so that you can get the resources.
There's a trading post on New Atlantis where they sell the resources itself.
True.
Yeah. No.
And if you sleep for like 48 hours, they'll restock. So I mean, you can keep going back and forth. But
that's what's crazy though. Like, to have this system that's in place, and Dan brought up a good point. It's just a growing pain. Something they could easily, I don't know if easily fix, but something they could
patch
fix.
It kind of.
Yeah.
Thing.
Because it's super weird to have this okay, how much crafting have you guys done?
Very little.
Not a lot.
And it's not, and I'm gonna be honest, as somebody who usually only crafts, it's weird to feel like it's almost impossible to craft.
I tried to craft a lot, and every time I never have the items I need to craft.
Or you don't have enough cargo space to hold all the items you need.
There's that too. And then there was the struggle I had of like moving my excess cargo from the ship to my hold in the lodge, which I found out later there was a transfer from ship option. I think they must have done an update because it wasn't there before.
Really?
When you go to your storage in the lodge, you can now see your ship's inventory from there, and you can do like the store all resources. Before, I was hoofing it back and forth between, I would take me and my companion to my ship, load up my companion with resources, then load up myself, and then walk all the way back and then dump everything. Like, come on, there's going to be a better way to do this.
Yeah, so much they don't tell you, man.
Yeah, like the map system is definitely like my big thing, because like I wouldn't be able to find, like, especially if I've already scanned a planet, it's like, okay, which planet had iron? Like, I want to go
look
to
at
that
the planet and look
like,
at the resources.
I know. I don't want to do that. Like, I want a list of like all the.
So if you're looking at crafting,
can
you can track resources. And I haven't done it personally. I know you can't.
Okay.
I just haven't done it myself.
Yeah.
But anyways, we've had plenty to say on that. And I wanted to move us on to the closing segment of the show. And that's going to be the Smash Scores. This is how we're going to score and rank games on these particular episodes of Deep Dives, because we've never actually done one of these before. So we're treading new water on Screen Smash. This is going to be the point where we do our personal score of the game ranked out of 10 and give a little bit of how you came to that decision on your score. Baron, obviously you haven't played through the main story, but I can't. You should be able to give us like, this is what your current feelings are for the game and a number associated with it.
Okay. So for me, I give it an easy 9 out of 10. I'll say an 8.5 out of 10. Only because screw it, 9. Because my issues
9, 8.5, 9.
My issues that I have with the game, I know they can fix because I've seen it in other Bethesda titles. The inventory issue, being able to disassemble weapons, being able to creating some type of log or journal where I could fast travel to my bases, my outpost.
That's a gripe right there. I made an outpost and I forgot where it was.
Yeah, I keep a legit journal with my locations, and I remember the name. Like, I know mine's on Bessel, like 3 Delta, and it's a moon planet next to in the Bessel system, like that. And then I actually made it next to a main marker so that it highlights as soon as you click. That's a pro tip for you guys if you didn't know that. If you create an outpost on a what are they called, a place of interest, a point of interest, it'll pop up below it when you click it, and it'll like a drop down. So I didn't know if y'all knew that, but I give it a 9 out of 10 because I have not touched the story, and I already have 2 days in it, and I can't wait to go back and play it. And I don't, outside of the cool stuff you guys just told me and not wanting to miss out on basic training, I need to go and finish the story. But without it, I would still put obviously 2 days worth of time. So yes, 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I actually have the same rating as Baron's second one. I was thinking more of an 8.5. Because don't get me wrong, like the game is it's great. It's taken a hold of me. It's brought back, like I said, those Fallout 3 feelings I had originally when I played that. But I think the thing that kind of like wins me over is like there's so much to do, but like in a good way, like
not in an Assassin's Creed way.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was about to say. Like it's not like an Assassin's Creed Odyssey or Valhalla, to where it's just like I feel like none of this matters what I'm doing. Like from this conversation that we just had here, if you think about it, it seems like we played 4 different games, and it's all the same game. Like that's the coolest thing about it. And very, very few games I feel like you can talk about that with people nowadays, to where I'd be like, oh no, yeah, I did that. Oh yeah, I did that like 3 hours ago, whatever. It's from this conversation right here, I found out so much more about the game than I've played in 25 hours. But I give it an 8.5 because like some of the issues we talked about, like the map needs to be worked. You have some of the bugs and stuff, inventory system, but I mean, there'll be patches, there'll be expansions, and I think if some of that was fixed, I'll bump it up to a 9. But I do think it's Game of the Year contender, in my opinion.
I'm gonna give it a 9.5. Like for what I know, for one of the big reason that Jake pointed out, like all of us played a different game basically in the same game, but like it takes a lot for a game to really hook me, especially a game like this. It takes a lot, and this has hooked me, and I don't want to put it down.
The only other game,
and I want to keep playing
like
it, and I want to keep exploring. Yeah, Hogwarts. Yeah, that was a big one for me. But like, I mean, most of the time I'm just like playing chill games and whatever. Like, I don't really play these types of games, but this one hooked me. Like, I don't want to put it down. So I give it a 9.5. Yeah, it's got a few bugs, but
can you give it?
I can easily see that being.
Is there
fixed.
anything specific you could think of to justify the 9.5 for you? Anything more specifically besides it hooked you?
The game is well, just the fact that there are so many things you can do in the game. Like you can play it however you want. You can play it as many times as you want and change it completely. Like I just feel like that's the playability by itself is a huge thing for me. Because a lot of games, it's like you play it through once. Yeah, it's a great game, but you never go back to it. Or you might go back to it like a couple of years later. This one, it's like the playability makes it such a high score for me because you can just play the crap out of it and you can keep playing it. And it's like a whole new story every single time. And every planet you go to has amazing things on it. Everything is beautiful. Like it's just, okay, not everything's beautiful. Earth kind of sucks right now, but it's still cool. I went to NASA. That was awesome. Like I seriously got like goosebumps just seeing NASA, and I got all the coffee mugs, all the
Nice.
NASA coffee mugs.
So, that's what I was waiting for. I was waiting for you to
it's-
hit more on the space nerd side of it, because I figured that's kind of like the thing that hits hardest for you.
Like seeing the rovers, seeing like just like there's a launch pad on Mars. Like it was just, as soon as I got to space and the music, it was just like, oh, like I'm here. I'm in it. Like I felt like I was there. I was exploring. I was like part of that world. So yeah. It's a high score for me.
I agree with her replayability, because most games have a new game plus. This game has a new game plus, like to infinity.
To infinity.
It does a really good job of intertwining new game plus into the narrative too.
Yes, that's what's cool. It explains it, and it works well.
Yeah.
Here's again, I said this to Baron earlier. I think it's worth putting out there that for anyone, if you're going to play Starfield, I think it's worth it to play through the main story first before you do anything else. Beat the main story, then do everything else afterwards, because you can.
Yeah. And have saves.
So I'm like, what, level 34, 36 now?
Dang.
So
like 27.
I gotta play that story.
So before I get into my ranking, I wanted to say, Jake, I'm really glad to hear how much you like this game, because you were so on the fence.
I honestly thought I was going to come in here going, this is garbage.
But to add to that too, like you were like, I'm playing Starfield. We're like, cool. And then 2 days later, like I rolled credits on Starfield, and we're all like, what?
It started out as I gotta beat it before Spider-Man comes out, because then that's all that matters. But then I was like, oh my god, I want to dive into these side quests and stuff. It's like, no, I gotta beat the game. I gotta beat the game. Like I've never been so more interested in finishing a game so I can play it some more.
Yeah, right.
Well, it was really cool because like Dan and I were able to play it before you got it, and it was like we kept like putting little tidbits out there, like, and then you were like, "Ooh, okay, I want to play it." And it's like you could hear the interest going up, and then you and Tyler were like, "We got it, we're playing it!"
Let's
like
go.
I'm so excited. I'm like, that was a good feeling. Like it was just like, okay, little tidbits.
It's
little
definitely
tidbits.
been a while.
They were like, "Yeah, let's go."
I don't know, had that much of my interest. So like it's a really good feeling to have.
Yeah.
So to round us out here, my actual feelings of Starfield at this point too are also a 9 out of 10, which effectively rounds out the score of this panel to a 9 overall, with the aggregate of the 9.5 and the 8.5. And I want to just emphasize how much I knew very little going into this game. I'm not a massive Bethesda fan, and I've gone on record to say that like not all games are for everyone. Not every Bethesda game is for everyone. I personally really enjoyed Fallout 3. I didn't enjoy Skyrim as much as other people. Like I definitely have dipped my toe into Skyrim, and I'll get kind of into it, but it doesn't hold me for very long. I played a lot of Oblivion, but I didn't beat Oblivion. And there's just something with Starfield that it grabbed me. It held my attention. The story was super interesting. The characters are really interesting. The companions all have really cool and interesting personalities. Like shout out to any one of those main companion characters, Barrett, Sam, Sarah, and Andreja, if that's the right way to say her name. But they all have really interesting dynamics and backgrounds. There's so much about this game that's great. Yes, it's not perfect, but that's what game is. What game is, especially a game this fracking big with this much to do and this much, like Jake's comparison to Assassin's Creed, there's so much to do, but in a good way. Like most people complain about spending 100 hours in Assassin's Creed. It's like, oh my God, just stop already.
Yeah.
Whereas the opposite in Starfield, where it's like, I beat the game. Now I get to do all the side quests. Yes. Like I get to do all the activities. I get to like, it has a magic to it. And I'm going to tell you right now, this is like no bullshit. Anyone you hear out there that's like talking ill of this game, they're either just anti-space, anti-RPG, anti-Bethesda. They've got too many qualms going into the game before they even play it to give you a justifiable reasoning for not liking it. And I don't want to go too far down that negativity road, but I just want to tell you, this is all four of us from different experiences with different approaches to the game, completely different approaches in many respects, honestly. But we all love the shit out of this game. And we know we're not paid. We don't have a sponsorship. We're not getting money in our pocket from Xbox or Microsoft or Bethesda.
I wish.
Yeah, but I'd still be saying this either way.
Yeah.
You know,
I'll take it.
It's incredible to me just how much this game has really taken me, and to the point where I've beaten the main story. And like Jake, like I wanted to just get through the story so I can get through it, because I know myself, if I don't beat it now, I'm not going to. But even after beating the game, I'm right back at it. Like, okay, let's do those side missions. Let's finish that Vanguard quest line. Let me do the Freestar quest line. Let me do the Crimson Raiders, Crimson Fleet. Like I want to do the Crimson Fleet thing. Like I want to do all this stuff, even though I've already beaten the game and have 60 plus hours in it.
Go play it. Especially if you have Game Pass, play it. Give it a shot. The shooting is fun.
No excuse.
Like you don't have to do the story. I'm 2 days deep and I have not literally 3 people who completed the story will explain to you that I have not done a thing. And I'm having the time of my life. So it really is. In space, they make it look very beautiful. It while still making you feel like creating that feeling of loneliness. Like it does have that.
Yeah.
But it's nothing cooler than a random ship landing while you're like gathering resources. And it's an amazing game. It's an amazing game.
Yeah.
Yep. It definitely hits you in the feels. Like it's you're there. Like I can't describe it. Like you're there. You're in space. You're doing the thing. Like I don't know. It's very all encompassing.
I can speak for Brandy on that side. Amazing. I've seen her play or try plenty of games, and like she'll bounce off them real fast. When she puts 60 hours into a game in the matter of a couple of days, yeah, I know it's got her. Quite literally.
Like, don't talk to me. I'm doing
That's
stuff.
what I'm talking about.
Yeah, we were taking turns of who was wearing headphones and who wasn't, because we're playing next to each other, and we don't want to have too much light bleed through.
Definitely go check it out. Game Pass. I mean, what do you got to lose? I mean, you only have to lose 10, 15 minutes of your time if you don't like it.
$10, 10 to 15 minutes. You know, if you have to pay for a month of Game Pass, it's not going to burn you too hard.
Because at the end of the day, it's like I started Starfield as a joke. The whole Buzz Lightyear thing was a joke. I was like, I'm not fully invested into this. I'm going to find my own reason to find my enjoyment. And like, I forgot about the whole reason I got into it once I finally started. So, I mean, you might get hooked like I did. So.
And you could do that too. You can make like joke characters. Like people made Todd Howard. Like, I'm going to play Starfield as Todd Howard.
Like the ship creator, like people making like X-Wings.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So
I've seen somebody as George Costanza.
And then wait till like mods come out. You know, people are going to be doing their own planets and whatnot, like Star Wars. I don't know. I could see
there is already Star Wars mods out, like full on stormtroopers and everything.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
I definitely need to make the Serenity when I get a chance. If
Firefly.
Yes.
But yeah, you can play this game on PC. You could play through cloud gaming. So even if you don't have a super powerful PC, you can cloud play it. You can cloud play it on an Xbox One. You could play this game on last gen.
Your cell phone.
Yeah, you can play it on your cell
phone. Your cell phone, your tablet. Like there's definitely ways to play this game, and you definitely owe it to yourself to at least try. Play through the prologue. Meet Barrett. Barrett's gonna smile and grin at you, and you're gonna be like, this motherfucker.
Reminds me of Danny.
You got me, Barrett. You got me.
Getting too old for this.
He's like, it even tells the time.
Yeah.
Like, thanks, Barrett.
Thanks, Barrett. Here's my ship. What was it? Blue Protocol or like?
I don't even have any other good way to close this out other than just
do it.
Add more spoons.
Yeah.
Add more spoons.
Get a patch for Jake to get more spoons.
Find the spoon.
Let me see your spoons.
No
Anyways,
spoons.
this has been really fun and excellent getting into a super deep dive with everyone here. This is something I've been wanting to do with the show for a while. I hope to do it again for Spider-Man 2, at least. Like we can go deep and hard on Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
We were going to do it with God of War Ragnarok, and it didn't happen. So yeah, this is definitely something I'm happy to get to be able to do this, because this has been a blast sharing our experiences with this game and going just super deep on it. You play that story, Baron, you let us know.
3 years later.
Mhm.
Can I be honest
We
with you
wanna
guys
know.
before we go?
Yeah.
It just know that it took me until the Switch version of Skyrim came out for me to beat the main story.
We'll end it on that, which is
Right.
Baron's stamp of approval. All right. Thank you all for joining us for this conversation this evening. Thank you, Baron, for being a part of this. Thank you, Jake. Thank you, Brandy. This has been fantastic. All of you have a wonderful evening. We'll see you next week on Screen Smash. To Starfield and beyond.
And beyond! He's like, where's Woody?
Where's what? Just